The story of English literature begins not with a pen, but with a boat. Around the 5th century AD, waves of Germanic tribes, the Angles, Saxons and Jutes, crossed the North Sea, leaving their homelands and landing on the shores of Britain. These migrations were not mere visits, they were conquests, forever altering the landscape of language and culture in the British Isles. The languages spoken by these newcomers, Old Saxon, Old Frisian and others, began to intermingle with the indigenous Celtic tongues. Over time, this linguistic fusion gave birth to what we now call Old English, the ancestor of the language we speak today. This new language was rough-hewn, sturdy, and infused with the spirit of its seafaring creators. Old English was a language forged in the crucible of change, reflecting the upheaval and transformation of Britain during this era. It was a language of warriors and storytellers, of everyday life and epic battles, and it would become the bedrock upon which the grand edifice of English literature would be built. In the absence of widespread literacy, the spoken word reigned supreme. Stories, myths and histories were passed down through generations, carried on the breath of bards and storytellers known as scops. These individuals were the keepers of memory, their voices weaving together the threads of the past and present. Poetry, with its rhythm and rhyme, was more than just entertainment. It was a mnemonic device, a way to preserve and transmit knowledge. The scops employed alliteration, the repetition of consonant sounds, and kenning's vivid metaphorical compound words to make their verses memorable and impactful. These literary techniques, unique to Old English poetry, imbued the language with a distinct musicality and depth. Imagine a cold winter's night, the wind howling outside a timbered hall. Inside, gathered around the hearth, people listen with rapt attention as the scop's words paint vivid pictures in their minds. His voice rises and falls, his words weaving tales of heroes and monsters, of gods and men. No work of literature better embodies the spirit of the Old English period than this epic poem, likely composed sometime between the 8th and 11th centuries, tells the story of a legendary warrior who comes to the aid of King Hrothgar, whose mead hall is under threat from the monstrous Grendel. Is more than just a monster-slaying adventure. It's a window into the Anglo-Saxon worldview. The poem celebrates courage, strength, loyalty, and the importance of honor. Beowulf's willingness to face terrifying creatures and his unwavering loyalty to his king embody the ideals that were highly valued in Anglo-Saxon society. The poem also explores themes of fate, mortality, and the fleeting nature of glory, reminding us that even the greatest heroes are not immune to the passage of time. The poem's enduring popularity, even in the 21st century, speaks to the timeless power of these themes. Although the world of May seem distant, the human emotions it explores, fear, courage, grief, and triumph, resonate deeply with us even today. As Christianity spread throughout Britain, it left an indelible mark on the literary landscape. The arrival of missionaries brought with them not only a new faith, but also the Latin language and a wealth of religious texts. This encounter between the old pagan beliefs and the new Christian faith led to a fascinating fusion of traditions in Old English literature. One of the most striking examples of this fusion is The Dream of the Rood, a poem in which the crucifixion of Christ is described from the perspective of the cross itself. The cross, a symbol of suffering and death in the Roman world, is transformed into a symbol of hope and redemption. This poem, with its vivid imagery and emotional depth, highlights the ways in which Christian ideas were interwoven with existing Anglo-Saxon literary traditions. The introduction of biblical stories, saints' lives, and theological writings broadened the thematic scope of Old English literature. The language itself began to absorb Latin words and phrases, reflecting the growing influence of the Church. This period of cultural and linguistic exchange enriched Old English literature, adding new layers of meaning and complexity to its tapestry. Among the most important figures in the transition to Christian literature were Caedmon and Cynewulf, two poets whose works exemplify the evolving nature of Old English verse. Caedmon, a simple herdsman, is said to have received the gift of song from an angel. His Hymn of Creation, a brief but powerful work, is considered one of the earliest known examples of English Christian poetry. Cinewulf, on the other hand, was a more learned poet whose name is woven into the fabric of four-signed poems: Elene, Juliana, Christ the Second, and the Fates of the Apostles. These works, often referred to as the Cinewulf canon, showcase Cinewulf's mastery of language and his deep engagement with Christian themes. His poems, filled with biblical imagery and theological reflections, reflect the growing sophistication of Christian literature in Old English. These two poets, separated by time and social standing, demonstrate the breadth and depth of Christian influence on Old English literature. Their works, imbued with both piety and artistry, helped to pave the way for the development of religious poetry in the centuries that followed. To truly appreciate the beauty of Old English literature, one must delve into the intricacies of its language. Kennings, those evocative compound words, pepper the verses like jewels, adding layers of meaning and imagery. A whale road becomes the sea, a battle sweat signifies blood, and a sky candle represents the sun. These kennings not only demonstrate the poet's creativity, but also offer a glimpse into the Anglo-Saxon worldview, their connection to nature, and their understanding of the world around them. Alliteration, the repetition of consonant sounds at the beginning of words, was another hallmark of Old English poetry. This device, used skillfully, created a sense of rhythm and momentum, weaving the lines together like the threads of a tapestry. The alliterative patterns, echoing through the verses, create a mesmerizing musicality that enhances the emotional impact of the words. The use of kennings and alliteration, along with other literary devices, makes Old English poetry a unique and rewarding experience for readers. Although the language may seem challenging at first, the rewards of unlocking its secrets are immense. Like archaeologists brushing away centuries of dust to reveal a hidden treasure, we, as modern readers, can unearth the beauty and power of this ancient language. The Old English period may have ended centuries ago, but its legacy continues to resonate in the present day. The manuscripts that have survived the ravages of time provide us with a precious link to a bygone era, a window into the minds and hearts of our ancestors. These texts, painstakingly copied by hand in monasteries and scriptoria, are a testament to the enduring power of the written word. The themes explored in Old English literature, courage, loyalty, the struggle between good and evil, the search for meaning in a changing world, are timeless and universal. The literary techniques developed during this era, particularly the use of kennings and alliteration, have influenced countless writers and poets throughout history. The very language we speak today, with its rich vocabulary and complex grammar, owes a debt to the language of the Anglo-Saxons. Old English literature is not merely a historical curiosity, it is a vital and vibrant part of our literary heritage. By reading these works, we engage in a dialogue with the past, gaining a deeper understanding of our own language, culture, and place in the grand sweep of history. The voices of the Scots, though silenced for centuries, still have the power to move us, to challenge us, and to remind us of the enduring power of storytelling.